Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Are y'all there? Come on in. Come on in. Auntie Mia, it's tea time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Pink Tea Tails. Hey, Robin. Good afternoon. It's morning somewhere, isn't it? Is it morning somewhere? I'm so excited. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Pink tea time. Yes. So this forum, we're here, y'all, my pink tea babes. We're here to listen to some tales from the top and some tales from women on their way to the top. All right. And it's also designed for you to get the story behind the glory. The story behind the glory is what this whole venture is about. Oftentimes, I have found that the stories are the tales are the things that I remember more than the actual training that I've had as being an entrepreneur and building my business for the past 27 going on 28 years. So I have found that when I have stories that I've heard, or when I even tell stories, I'm able to relay my training, my education, my motivation, and my why, my purpose in a different fashion. I believe it makes a much better impact. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, over there in Birmingham. I see you. Hey, over there in Lawrenceville, Brenda. Hey, Sharon. Look at my nieces checking in. Hey, Miss Kristen over there in Houston. So the stories, ladies, my pink tea babes are the tales, the pink tea tales are the ways that we bond, are the ways that our culture operates, and it's what connects us, I believe. It connects us when you know the story behind the glory. So just to let you know, we're having our broadcast right now, and when we finish, I want you to use this broadcast to continue with your comments and continue asking whatever questions you may have so that it's easy to find. All right, so this is broadcast number 1, and then we'll be able to have all questions and thoughts connected to this broadcast here right under this particular broadcast. And then when it's time for you to ask questions outside maybe of the broadcast, then feel free to post them. I can decide which posts are going to be accepted into the group, so that as long as they are, hey Joni, hey Moselle, as long as they are on par with pink tea tales. This is not necessarily for a how-to. This group is designed for the why behind what a successful entrepreneur Mary Kay has been able to accomplish. So that being said, I'm excited for our first pink tea tale guest, and a lot of you probably can wonder and think about who it is, but I thought it was just extremely appropriate that our first guest be the
Yay! Hi, everybody! How are you?
Our first guest is none other than my mom first, my recruiter second, my sales director third, my senior director fourth, my national and my senior national, Sonja Hunter Mason.
Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm really excited to be here this morning, and as well as honored to be the first on Pink Tea Tales.
Yes.
So we're gonna be spilling some tea today.
And so when we're talking about spilling the tea, first of all, I admire your work ethic. I admire who you've become over your years, your different stages in Mary Kay. And I love the way you work with women. They just love hearing from you. They love the way you put it to them. They really love the way you put it to them. And so we're here in December. It is the final month of a year. And I just thought it was a great time for us to get together for our first Pink Tea Tale. I didn't want to wait till the new year.
Okay.
I felt like today would be a better time, or this month would be a better time. And so what I want you to, the first tea I want you to spill for us, the first tea for you, yes, it's about work ethic. It's about work ethic. I have often said that women in the baby boomer generation have a stronger work ethic. They're stronger finishers. They don't tuck her out, and they complete the task. It time and time again. And so I will say, Mary Kay often said that 35 and up is the desired age for building a Mary Kay business or having women on your team to keep things youthful and bringing up. However, I have found in particularly my organization, give me 55 and up. Give me someone who is retired, who is nearing retirement, who is established, who has made a lot of different life choices and now knows precisely what she wants. I call it grown folks business. I love that. And so, but I've noticed you, National Sonja, through the years. I've noticed how you are able to continue your work ethic. You look incredible today. I can tell you that. But tell me about work ethic. Where did you get your work ethic from? Give me some tales. Spill some tea on work ethic and what you feel work ethic means.
I really believe that work ethic goes back to the beginning, maybe 10, 11 years old. I can remember my daddy getting up and all of a sudden the sheets flew off the bed. You know, you were tucked in, sleep. All of a sudden the sheets flew off. Okay, everybody up. If I'm up, get up. Okay? And there was always something for you to do. Okay, we didn't have a choice. If we were going to go rake leaves that day, we went to rake leaves. If we were going to clean houses that day, that's what we did. The work had to be done correctly. It had to be done right. It had to be done thorough, and we had to finish. Okay, so I just believe in doing whatever you're doing, and then turn around. My daddy always said, turn around and look at it and see what else you can do. Every time we thought we had finished, turn around and look at it again from some fresh eyes. And so I take that into the Mary Kay. First, I took it into real estate. Then I took it into Mary Kay, and now I'm taking it into retirement. So I think I can capsule that by saying start with the end in mind. Any job you have, just start with the end in mind. Start and know where it's going, how you're going to get there. And so getting up, complaining and getting up, wondering why do we have to get up on Saturday? Why do we have to work in the rain? Why do we have to? It was always, why do we have to? We didn't voice it out because we knew that would mean bam in the mouth, but we always thought why. And today, retired and looking back, I see the why. And so that work ethic has been built in to just do the job, don't complain, get it done.
Okay, thank you for that. And so you first, though, how did you become an entrepreneur? That's the question that I have. How did you become an entrepreneur? How did you go from working a job to then parlaying that into being a successful entrepreneur? Tell me about that story. Where did you start? And how did you begin to work for yourself and continue working for yourself through thick and thin?
Okay. I really think that started when I was, this was before kids, BC, before children. And I was a long distance operator with Bell South. Loved it. It was a pristine position to have, especially in Atlanta back in the 69, 70. And I remember going to the assessment center. And this is where you went to be groomed. And this is where you were going to be a supervisor. And you were going to walk along the switchboard and tell people what to do. I was so excited that I had been chosen. Went to the assessment center and turned it out because I've always been a great worker. Came back and my supervisor introduced me to Becky. And she said to me, well, now that you've been trained at the assessment center, I want you to train Becky and she's going to be your boss. Okay. Duh. I went home. I had a coma pod. And I said to Walt, I said, you know what? I'm going to quit. I was in 5 years at Bell South. And so I quit. I went home and I was going to start a nursery school. And one of my friends, Eddie Woods, came over and he said, you know what? You ought to be in real estate. You have the best personality. Houses are selling. I can show you what to do. All you have to do is pass the test. So I'm all of 23 years old at that time, going into 24. Went into real estate, passed the test, and became one of the youngest brokers in Atlanta at 24.
Wow.
And so I think that's what got me into being an entrepreneur, working for myself, because I got mad as you know what, thinking that I had a position, I was going to be this, that, and the other. So I just started working for myself. I started off working with a company named Brown and Reese Realty, and we were selling houses in the Southwest Atlanta area. We worked rain or shine. They taught us how to overcome objections, not to take it personally. They also taught us that if you didn't work, you didn't get paid. As an entrepreneur, the people who worked were the people who got paid. And so Walter was teaching school, I was into real estate, and my very first year I went from making $7,500 at Bell South to about $89,000. So
wow.
So you know I thought I was rich, right?
Wow.
And so I encouraged my husband. I said, you know what? I'm going to go on and we're going to have our own company. I said, if we're making 7% and then we get X of this, then we can have our own company and we can have the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we did. We started Mason and Scott Realty and went through the ups and downs of real estate. Then, it's either feast or famine. When it's the feasting time, you have everything. When it's the famine time, you have nothing. And so then you have to start managing your finances better. Okay? So we opened up Mason and Scott Realty. Had a great time with that. Had about 8 or 10 employees there. And we went through a downtime. Went through a real dip, but we had to keep the associates going. So we had them working on what's called a draw. So we give them a draw, and then when they close the houses, then they get paid. So we had to keep their draw going. And so real estate was down, down, down. This 1981.
Okay.
So I went and had a facial at the richest counter. And when I came back home, my neighbor said, how do you like my facial? She said, girl, you should try Mary Kay. I said, what is that? 6 months later, my best friend Ann invited me to this Mary Kay thing. Long story short, in 1982, I signed my first agreement, and it was on after that.
Okay. So now, I know you became a Mary Kay director within 6 months of joining Mary Kay.
Right.
And now you've told me before that you had thought about completely quitting Mary Kay before, and there were some friends of yours who were sharing. Who were saying that, maybe you should quit and we're going to quit and that kind of thing. So tell me more about when you're an eagle, you fly alone, and how important it is to have the right people in your space.
Okay, so I became a director really quickly. I really didn't know how to work with women. I had been in a man-dominated world. And so we had what we call prayer partners. So every morning we would get on the phone and first we'd pray, or we'd pray at it, okay? And then we would talk about our units and what they weren't doing, and it was just a very frustrating time, okay? Just back and forth, back and forth. Well, at that point, there was no social media, so we didn't know what the economy was doing. Mm-hmm. So in the background, the economy was going to hell in a handbasket, but we thought it was the consultants, it was this, that, and the other, because we were working really, really hard. And so this was 82, 3, 4, 5, 85. We all talking, and I said, you know what? Why don't we just quit?
Oh, just quit, huh?
Everybody
agreed.
agreed.
Spill the tea on this quitting now.
Okay, when women tell you they're going to do something and they don't, and at the end of the month, we still had a quota to meet, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't, and it happened over and over and over again, and it seems like you're the only one working, you're the only one trudging. So 5 of us,
wow,
we all decided to quit.
Ooh.
Guess what?
What?
I quit. They stayed.
You quit what exactly?
Well, I stepped down from my unit.
Okay.
I stepped down from directorship. When you feel like you have options and when you feel like you're great and wonderful, the easiest thing to do is quit. The hardest thing to do is hang in there and make it happen.
Okay.
So we were all going to quit, and I called them. I said, well, let's go to lunch. And they said, oh, we have a director's meeting. I said, what do you mean a director's meeting? They didn't quit. I quit. So, needless to say, that was another breakdown, okay? And so the thing that helped me through, though, was Mary Kay taught us to book 8 and hold 5. I had a tremendous customer base.
Okay.
And my customers would not let me quit. And so, I just kept servicing them. In fact, I was a star consultant the whole time I quit. Quitting did not mean getting out of Rosa's area. It just meant giving up the responsibility of leadership. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so in 1988, I got another wake-up call, and that was you. You wanted to go to Howard. And I was praying because I was still unhappy. You always default back to what you were doing. I went back to real estate. It was okay. I started cleaning houses, created another company called Brown Skin Service because I can clean up good.
Wow.
That didn't quite work, but God put Mary Kay in my mind. And I said, Walter, guess what? God said for me to get back into Mary Kay. He said to me, as splibs often do. Okay? Do whatever you want to do, but keep me out of it. Do whatever you want to do, but keep me out of it.
Okay.
So I said, okay, this time I just believe I can do it. This time I'm going to really make a difference. This time I'm not going to quit. He said, baby, keep me out of it. So that's what I did. Now, got back into Mary Kay, started to roll. Promise you I was going to come back in a pink Cadillac, and the money started rolling in, okay? So every Tuesday, he'd come in and give me $35 to get my hair done.
Okay.
He didn't know I had made $8,000.
Right.
$9,000.
Right.
What did he say? Keep me out of it. So that's what I did. I was able to just stack cash because, we didn't have a big house. We didn't have big overhead. Mm-hmm. And so I can remember one night going in, and I must have had maybe 300 or 400 ones. And I said, boom, threw the money on the bed. I didn't do like this. This is a new thing.
You didn't make it rain.
Okay.
But you did make it rain at the same time. Okay.
And he said, what is this? I said, this is for you. Spend it on whatever you want to. After that, he was on board.
Okay.
See, men understand money. Okay? And he understands that you're not making money. You're whining, groaning, moaning, and complaining. So I just say, keep them out of it. And surprise them with what you can do.
What does that mean? Spill the tea on keeping the men out of your business. What does that mean? How does that work?
Now this one, this is a finger up.
Okay. This is a finger up. This is a pinky. This is a pinky up. Pinky pink tea.
Okay. when you're running a Mary Kay business, women really don't understand. I mean, men don't understand the emotions of it.
Okay.
Sometimes you love your consultants, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you love your national, sometimes you don't. They don't need to know that tomorrow you're gonna love them again. So we're just kind of up and down with the love thing. But when your man see you hurt, they're gonna hate who you told them to hate. So they're not gonna like your director. They're not gonna like your consultants because you didn't like them. They didn't know you had already switched. You know, women go in and out, warm and cold. We're like a bipolar. We're like Mother Nature. Spring, summer, winter, fall. Spring, summer, winter, fall. Okay. So I always like to surprise them. If anything is wrong, call your director, cause what? She knows what to say. Okay? Keep your husband out of it.
Mm-hmm. So for example, if you just had a $5 skincare class with 10 people there, and you come home and your husband says, how did it go? How do you keep him out of that?
Okay, Mary Kay always taught us to say unbelievable. Everything is unbelievable. And you go in, you clean your mirrors, and you get ready. Now, you drove all the way to Alpharetta, and you live in Decatur, and you came back with $5. Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. If I had made $2,000, how did the class go? Unbelievable. Because I knew that I was going to have to invest my money back in the business as well as give him what he told me I had to, my share of the responsibilities. So as long as I kept my $1,500 that I had to give him every single month or whatever you have to give, everything else is either gravy or it's meat.
Okay. So I know that you said that we should our husbands out of it, but what if we are with family members? Okay. Mm-hmm. What if we're with family members? Rotate your phone. Let me see. Come back. Let me come back. Family members, your mom, somebody might talk to their mom every day. Mm-hmm. We often say that if your family doesn't support you, it's tougher to build the business.
Okay.
And so how do you keep disappointment, or if a consultant or your director lets you down, or your national lets you down, how are you able to keep them? Because is it true that if your husband hates who you hate, does your mama hate who you hate to? Does your sister hate who you hate to? And then when you want to go back to an event, or you've gotten over it and you know that this is still the way I need to be, I still need to, I'm in this organization, I'm not going to quit my Mary Kay business. How are you able to keep the family out of disappointments that are going to happen?
One of the best ways I can describe that is, have you ever been to Six Flags and rode the roller coaster? Okay? You're up and down and around and zooming down and up and down and around. And when you get off, you say, oh my God, I'm glad I'm off. And what do? You go back around and you get on the roller coaster again because it was the most exciting thing you had done. So I just think that you have to be emotionally sound. And you have to know that this is your business and that this is your dream, okay? Again, keep them out of it. Adopt the word unbelievable.
Okay.
How was it? Unbelievable.
Okay.
Okay, but when you start moaning and complaining, then you need to give yourself a checkup from the neck up and get back to your dream.
Okay, very good. I like that. So another question is keeping the main thing the main thing. And when you keep in the main thing, give me a tale about how you were able to avoid distractions and keep the main thing the main thing.
I never will forget. And when I finally decided my clock was ticking and that I needed to become a national, I brought all of my directors, I think it was 5 of them and 4 were seniors, to my home. I cooked neck bones and we had greens, and we all sat around this big dining room table I had, and I painted the vision of where we were going to go and what we were going to do.
Okay.
So then, back then you had to sign up for going into NIQ, okay, letter of intent or whatever. And I never will forget, as I was finishing, okay, distractions. I think this might have been Nancy Bonner. But she said that she had put her goals on the ceiling fan, and every night when she went to sleep, she could see the goals going around. And so I did the same thing. Nancy and I grew up in Ruby Lee's area, and I did the same thing. I put those goals on the ceiling fan so that was the last thing I saw at night. I went a step further and I put them in front of the commode. And every time I was on the commode, I could see my goals. And so it was important to me to keep the main thing. But I started working with Sean Key. And when you're blessed to work with a young, strong, viral man who believed in your goals. Okay.
That's not this tea. That's not this tea now.
Okay. Which I wanted to do million.
Okay.
And we were almost there. We were 875,000. And this is in May going into June.
Okay.
June 30th is the last of the month. And I said, Sean, I said, I'm just so close to million. And he said to me, do you want million or do you want national? Don't talk to me about anything else. You make a decision. What do you want? And I said, well, I want national, but we're just so close to million. He said, you need to rethink what you're doing. Go out and help some more women and come on across this finish line, Sonja Mason. And that's what I did. I want to thank Sean forever for sometimes you have to be in the room or in the sphere of a person who's going to snatch your head and make you do the right thing that you said you wanted to do. And that's what Sean did for me. So that's why I try to give it to you straight, plain, and this is how it is, because fooling you or not sharpening you is not to your benefit.
Okay. And so oftentimes when I was growing up in Mary Kay and when we were at events together and things like that, oftentimes people would ask, what is it like to work with your mom? How can we be a mother-daughter team? And then we eventually became the first and only African-American mother-daughter nationals in Mary Kay history.
To date, we got some more coming.
First and only. And what was that like? Navigating your own business, building your own dreams, and still mentoring your daughter at the same time. Give me some tea.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Y'all might hear this tea, because this is the hardest headed young lady. Anyway, the thing that I'm most excited to say today is what's caught is more important than what's taught. I can remember Mia as a young teenager in Mary Kay, joined at 19, I think it was, and didn't want to wear the product. So I would get her in the bathroom and I'd put her in a headlock and try to put on some Day Radiance or something, So, and then I told her, I said, okay, now we're going to seminar. You're going to be in a red jacket. You'll be so glad. All you need is 2 white blouses, a red jacket, a long skirt, and let's just go. So when she got that, she said, you know what? I'm so glad you made me go ahead and open my mouth and talk to people. So as we started to grow together, then I noticed what a maverick she was. I noticed what a brilliant person she was, and I noticed how she needed to be able to fly on her own. I always say a mighty oak casts a big shadow, but another tree cannot grow in that shadow. So as I was working with her, I was constantly kind of stepping aside, kind of letting her do her own thing. In the beginning of directorship, she went out and recruited all the youngsters like her. They all got babies and got pregnant. And you know what happens in your early 20s, from 20 to 30, you make all kind of mistakes. But she never quit. She never thought about quitting. She hung in there and just kept going. So then I'm noticing this. I'm noticing, okay, so now this is as she's having children, getting married, and that kind of thing. I really started to step to the side and let her spread her wings. Sometimes I could do some input and when you think you grown enough to correct your mama, okay? Think you grown enough to tell her something. So I had to let her stumble a lot. But in stumbling, when you get back up and you go forward, you're even stronger after the stumble. So I decided this. As I'm talking, I would say, is this a Mary Kay conversation or is this a mom and me conversation? Okay? Because the lines can become blurry, and every conversation, if you allow it, can turn into a Mary Kay conversation. Then you get into the tit for tat. But you have to decide what are we talking about? Is this a mom conversation or is this a business conversation? So doing that, that's how we've been able to take it to the top. After I retired and I've been standing back and watching how she's run her national area, wanting me to stop, wanting me to stay out of it. And I've just become so proud. I've become so proud of the Seoul national area, dollar for dollar and pound for pound. These women are awesome, and more to come. So working with your daughter, she's going to watch what you do. And so be careful what you're showing her. That's what I can say on that.
Okay. And so I want to ask you one more. Another question is, when it comes to working with women, can you give me a story where you learned that leadership was for you, and that you were definitely drawn to be able to help women through their trials and tribulations in life? You have said sometimes you will tell us, don't get in the bed with the women. Don't be in the bed with them. What does that mean? Give me a tale about being in the bed, so to speak, quote unquote, with the people who you're leading. So the first part of the question is, how did you know you were called to lead again? Because directorship is one thing, but leadership is another animal, which is obviously why you became a national sales director. So what made you want that responsibility again?
Well, if we're going to tell the truth and shame the devil,
let's tell it. Tell the tea.
It was the money. It was the money. But you have to get the dollar signs out of your eyes. You have to go in to help the women. Now, early on, I had a strict rule that you didn't get in the bed with them. This means that you don't become too close. They don't know everything about you, because familiarity breeds contempt.
Okay.
And when you're too familiar with what your director, what your leader's doing, then you know, oh, she's gonna pig out on Sunday night, she's gonna do this on Monday, that kind of thing. So the respect is not there. Now, this was at first a real hard line on that. As I have grown and tempered and learned and worked with women, I can remember being in a training class with Esther Beeman. Way back in the day, Esther Beeman told us, women are liars, cheaters, and fornicators of the truth. And I put, until they learn otherwise.
Oh, boy.
This means they'll tell you they're going to do the order and they had no intentions of doing it. They'll tell you they're feeling good and they know they're hurting. They'll tell you what they think you want to hear so that you can act favorably toward them. And so that's all I can say on that.
Okay, but when you said that you knew that you were led to lead,
that was when God called me back into Mary Kay.
Into directorship,
right, in 88. There were so many broken wing women who, if they had had a little more love, a little more tolerance, a little more understanding.
Yeah.
Not that you were going to get in the bed with them, but that you could be strong enough to pull them forward. If you don't have a leader that's strong enough to pull you forward when you give in to your idiosyncrasies, then you're not going to go anywhere, and she can't lead you. When you don't have a leader that can say, okay, let's look at it this way, and can give you a different paradigm on what you're looking at,
right,
then she's not going to be able to lead you. And so when you're able to take a broken winged eagle, put some tape on her wing, tell her that she is worthy of flying, tell her that she can do it. A lot of times people don't have people in their corners who really truly believe in them enough to pull them through.
Right.
When you say, girl, I'm gonna quit, and they say, I don't blame you, that's not what you're going to need.
Right.
Okay, you're going to need somebody to say, okay, so tell me again why you're quitting. Tell me again why this is happening. Tell me again why that's happening. So that's it.
Okay, and then when you were still building your second unit, what did you do differently?
Okay, the first
Give me
thing
some
I
tales
did.
on that.
Okay, the first thing I did in building the second unit, I had to decide, A, nobody else was going to be in my ear. You see, a confused mind does nothing. Okay? And B, I was truly going to take God as my business partner. That I was really, really, really going to listen to the people and be a servant for the people. I found out in my ministerial training that my language was servant. I'm a servant leader. And so in doing that, I just forgot what I was saying. My granddaughter came in. Good morning. How are you? Short-circuited. Okay. What was I talking about?
Well, you were talking about building your second unit.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay. What I did differently. Okay. Then I had to pick up my 2 pink bags, and I had to work if nobody else worked.
Okay.
I remember going to Nan Stroud's meeting up in South Carolina, and she said to us that day, you need to do your own $3,000 order. Sell enough to do your own $3,000 order, and everything else would be gravy.
Okay.
I mean, that thing hit me in the face like a wet rag. And I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense. She said, then you won't have to lean on your people.
Okay.
So back then, production was 3,000.
Okay.
And we went to work. So that was one of the things I did differently. The other thing I did differently was I worked a weekly plan sheet.
Okay.
I worked a weekly accomplishment sheet so I could see how to divide my money. Because when you work, and you don't take a profit, you always take a profit at the wrong time. So you spend all the money at the wrong time. So that was something else I did differently. And then I always had a vision board in front of the commode so I could see what was going on.
Okay.
You know, I couldn't trash my house. I had too much going on to put posters everywhere. I think trashing your house is for a person who's single or a person who doesn't have, you know, a person whose family has empty nesters. You can do that. So I always put it in front of the commode and looked at it. I really, really looked at it. And when I became a national, I found one of my vision boards.
Oh, wow.
And on this board was that White House looked like that I lived in Chateau Elan.
Wow.
And then I cut out faces of all these women in magazines. I didn't know who they were, but I knew I was going to have to see a lot of faces. And so I cut out faces. It was just brown, black, Asian, whatever it was, on my poster board. And I also had millionaire.
Yep.
Everything on that board came true. So I've had a wonderful ride.
Yeah.
I've had a wonderful, wonderful ride, and that's why I try to always come back and give back. But I've tempered a lot. I really believe in picking people up and taking them where they are. And if their goals change, then I can step off. But as long as their goals didn't change, I could continue to lead them and continue to encourage them and continue to expect that they would do what they said they wanted.
Wow, this has been phenomenal. There are some questions that some people have been asking, but you've answered the questions that they've asked. They're probably going to have more questions for you, and they're going to post the questions underneath this thread, underneath the video. So when we have more questions, National Sonja is going to available, and she's going to answer your questions that you may have for her right here underneath this for about the next 30 minutes. So I also want you to love on her and give her your thoughts. You've been given some great feedback, but of course she's not been able to see the feedback. But we appreciate you being here for our very first Pink Tea Tales. Okay. And it has been a wonderful time so far hearing from National Sonja and her stories and her tales. There's so much more that she has. She's going to be a recurring guest on our Pink Tea Tales because there's more and more stories and more pink tales in her head than anyone I know in Mary Kay. All right. And so we're going to hear what her question, she's going to read your questions and she's going to get you some answers for about the next 30 minutes. And I want to thank you all for joining. We had, I think, about 108. This is National Sales Director Mia Mason Porter, Soul Sister number 1, Auntie Mia, signing off. And this has been our first Pink Tea Tales. It was very, very fun. Thank you all for being here with us. Stay tuned for our next Pink Tea Tales.